Namaskar, welcome to our channel Whitetail. Here we'll explore India's ban on non-veg milk, genetically modified food, and triggered Trump's tariff.
In the complex world of international trade, the battle over dairy and genetically modified GM foods between the United States and India has escalated into a significant controversy. At its core lies the clash between American demands for market access and India's commitment to safeguarding its local farmers and cultural values. As the two nations navigate this contentious dialogue, what unfolds is not merely an economic struggle, but a vivid depiction of conflicting priorities, values, and the very fabric of food culture on both sides. With milk a ubiquitous staple at the center, the stakes couldn't be higher. The backdrop of this trade dispute provides insight into the divergent perspectives held by each country. For the United States, high tariffs imposed by India present obstacles to entering one of the world's largest consumer markets. The American administration argues that if India's textiles and gems are allowed free access to US markets, then its dairy products deserve equitable treatment as well. Conversely, India stands firm in its refusal to budge, emphasizing the precarious existence of over 100 million small-scale farmers who rely on agriculture for their livelihoods. To them, lowering tariffs in favor of imported goods threatens not only food security, but also the very essence of rural farming communities, exposing them to the influx of cheaper, subsidized American products that could decimate local economies. As the discussion deepens, we encounter a perplexing term, non-veg milk. This concept brings an additional layer of complexity to the dispute. In India, it refers to dairy produced by cows that have been fed animal-derived feed, which is common practice in many American farms to enhance milk production. However, this practice collides violently with Indian cultural and religious beliefs. The cow holds sacred status among millions, and the notion of consuming milk from cows fed animal byproducts is not just unpalatable, but seen as a breach of purity. The Indian government's 2021 proposal for mandatory labeling of such products as non-veg created further friction perceived by the US as an unjust trade barrier. To the US, it seemed a matter of market access. To India, it spoke volumes about purity, faith, and deep-rooted food identity. Thus, the trade battle encapsulates more than just economic interests. It reflects broader narratives about identity, farming practices, and the future of local agricultural communities against the pressures of globalization. The debate on genetically modified foods, or GM foods, creates ripples across international waters. These crops, their DNA modified for resilience against pests and enhanced yield, become a controversial topic among nations. The United States, the dominant player in GM crop production, finds itself in a push to open Indian markets to these products, eager to export its genetically engineered soy, maize, and canola. However, India stands firmly at the gates, cautious and guarded, reflecting its apprehension about allowing GM foods into its agricultural ecosystem. India's reluctance emanates from deep-rooted concerns surrounding health and environmental risks. While BT cotton stands as the only genetically modified crop cultivated within its borders, the nation holds a robust stance against other GM crops and imports. This prudence arises not merely from scientific skepticism, but from a desire to protect local farmers, safeguard biodiversity, and maintain control over its food supply. The specter of dependence on foreign corporations looms large, a fear that allows India to resist the allure of cheap GM food imports, viewing them as a potential threat to its agricultural sovereignty. The unfolding trade saga doesn't exist in a vacuum. The conflict extends into trade tariffs, shaping the broader relationship between the US and India. The US, made impatient by India's refusal, retaliates with the imposition of high tariffs on a range of Indian exports, including textiles and jewelry. Meanwhile, India reinforces its protective tariffs, standing as a shield for its domestic agriculture. At the heart of this trade war lies a pursuit for access and fair treatment. The US seeks a foothold for its agricultural exports while India fights for its farmers' interests. Both nations are firmly entrenched, and their disputes over GM foods symbolize a much larger struggle for control and authority in global trade. As the conflict evolves, one must consider the implications. If tensions escalate, the potential slowdown of India's growth may ripple through global supply chains, straining diplomatic relations. The situation crystallizes into a confrontation between the agricultural ambitions of the US and India's commitment to its cultural and agricultural values. these tensions transcend a mere discussion about GM foods. They underscore a fundamental battle concerning nations' values, agricultural sovereignty, and the survival of diverse cultural identities. The negotiations continue, but the road ahead remains uncertain, highlighting the broader stakes in global trade well beyond the realms of milk and corn.